Hi everyone, I'm Josh and welcome to Josh Wright Piano TV. Today I'm excited to share a concept about rubato, which is loosely interpreted as the pushing and pulling of time within music. If you play any type of romantic music just dead straight, it's going to be quite boring. So one of my favorite examples, and actually this idea was spurred by a brilliant teacher, Paul Shenley, who I did a festival with back in New York all the way back in 2012. He said, Josh, how I like to pace this rubato in the first Chopin ballade is I like that to be the storyteller pulling the oars and then the boat glides. Now the boat just glides and it loses a little energy and then it pulls the oars again. And then the boat glides. And I loved that analogy. And I've had quite a few students the last few weeks that have been struggling with their rubato, and it spurred a thought in my mind of how to use that same imagery and where to apply it. Because you might think, oh, well, that's such an obvious example. You can feel the momentum of those eighth notes, and then these quarter notes kind of slow down. But I think it's a more universal concept. What the concept is, I had a student who I've taught for a long time. I actually referenced her in a video not too long ago, who was playing Opus 90, number 3, Schubert Impromptu in G-flat major. What she was doing is she was doing this. It's hard to kind of place your finger on that unless you are teaching a lot or familiar with exactly how you'd want to play that. You might think, okay, yeah, there was still pushing and pulling of time. I'm not really sure what she was doing. And sometimes even as the teacher, it's hard to say, okay, she took a little bit too much time there. She didn't take enough time here. And I wanted to paint this in a more general way for her so that she could understand and apply it to the entire piece. So I kind of explained it with those oars. I said, anytime your melody remains stagnant, so it's just a held note, a note that's holding for a while, like this, the boat is just gliding. And then when the melody comes back in and it has more activity going on, then the music can push forward. And then it glides. Glide, move, then glide to there. Glide, do not speed up. That's always the temptation, and that's why rubato is so tricky, is it takes a very steady person, and I mean, I make these mistakes too. I remember I was playing this not long ago. I want to rush those because I'm like, oh, I want to get to that next melody note. But you have to have the control and allow the melody to push and take time. Now the boat's just gliding. Melody can also take time. Don't rush that. Then it's so tempting to do that. I always tell my students, this is especially prevalent like when you have rests. I think there's some, not really, at the end there. Like, let's say that you're just ending a piece that goes, what students will often do is they'll speed up their rests. And I say, oh, did you feel that speed up a little? They're like, oh yeah, I definitely felt that. And I was like, well, all you gave me was silence, and I don't know what you're thinking inside of your head, whether you're speeding up or slowing that down. So when you have rests or held notes, you have to stay steady. You don't want those points to be points of movement. Obviously, they're held notes or they're rests. Like, that makes logical sense in our brain, but what our natural full of adrenaline, human, mammal-like instincts are. I mean, we're trained to run from a bear with everything we've got if we're being chased. That doesn't translate so well over into piano. So what you have to do is you have to have control to not push forward on held notes or rests. Now, you saw this is a perfect example. This note is held. But Josh, there's all these other notes. I can move forward with those. Well, the main point of focus is this. So I want that to have full value. Then I could push a little here, and then I could take my time. Then I can push and come down to there. So anytime something is holding, I want to hold on those reins. I don't want to let the horse get away from me, okay? So then I can move a little bit there. Glide, move. Now long glide through here. Keep that tempo. Then you can move it. And a lot of people like this a lot faster. Let me show you in a lot faster of a tempo. Glide, do not speed up. Don't speed up. Now you can speed up. And then long gliding to there. Do not push forward. Now you can push forward dynamically and with rubato. Now move. Now I can slow it down, and I continue to slow it down in that slightly slowed down tempo. Okay, we're talking very minuscule changes here. I'm not talking now we go to 80 beats per minute, now we go to 50, now we go to 92. We're just talking little bits of pushing and pulling. But this concept, rubato, was something that I developed over many, many years. I remember after some lessons I had taken with one particular teacher, I finally walked out and I said, okay, he had me going so extreme with that rubato that now I kind of understand the parameters. Similarly, a few years after that in Michigan, I took some mazurkas to my teacher, and Chopin mazurkas opus 59. 59. I'm pretty sure. I'm a little sick right now, so my brain might be a little foggy, but these ones. And the first week I was quite even. He's like, Josh, these are fine. Like, they're very beautiful, but they're kind of boring. Like, let's put in a lot more rubato. So I just went home and listened to the Martha Argerich recording on repeat and just copied her exactly. And just because I was like, you know what, I just want to kind of get in her head because I like the way she does rubato. And the next week he's like, these are some of the best mazurkas I've ever heard. What in the world did you do this last week? I was like, I just copied Argerich. And he's like, well, keep doing that. And after a while, I stopped listening to the Argerich recording and the rubato became my own, but it still felt good. It still sounded good. So that's an example of a way that you can learn from recordings as well. So if a recording is not too breakneck speed for you, and even on this Andante, some people take it quite fast. If you can keep up with that, it is nice to play along with a recording, especially ones that kind of bend the time in a little more extreme way, not the super even ones, just to kind of feel that rubato. So I hope this helps each of you today. If any of you have any questions, my email is josh@joshwrightpiano.com. I do my best to answer as many of those as I can, but please forgive me if I'm unable to answer every single one. I just get so many emails every single day, and I'm trying to make as many of these videos as I possibly can. So thank you for your understanding there. I will link a few things in the description below. One of them is for a free webinar containing 10 of my favorite tips to help take your playing to a higher level. These are some of my favorite tips I use every day in my teaching and in my performing and my practicing. Second, I will leave a couple of links to my paid courses if you'd like to check those out. Those go a lot deeper than this channel does. And then lastly, I will leave a link to my kit, which is all of the gear that I use to make these videos, all the lights, all the cameras, all the microphones, as well as some theory books and other fun things in there that you might find interesting. Have a great week. Good luck in your practice sessions.